Here is the third day of the Best Six. Actually, it's a throwback to the afternoon yesterday. Before the networking reception, we were treated to the presentation, including the city in a single building built in Saudi Arabia in the desert.
Now, a revolution in civilization is taking place. Imagine a traditional city and consolidating its footprint, designing to protect and enhance nature. The line will be home to 9 million residents and will be built with a footprint of just 34 square kilometers.
From what I gathered and from the follow-up questions, I understand that nobody bothered to ask those 9 million potential residents whether they would be interested in moving into this building. Of occupants' dissatisfaction and downright building failures caused by some of the ideas implemented in earlier years was brought up in several discussions. Early morning of the third last day, forgive my mess during the packing, I discovered that neither the telephone nor Wi-Fi works, probably because the hotel decided to change its brand and the name overnight without warning the guests. What's that? There's no easy way to push the checkout deadline and get the boarding passes, which is the typical routine on the last day. The morning was chock full of very interesting presentations.
And you'll see that there's not much difference in airflow. And that's because the vents are the primary resistance to airflow.
I asked a random attendant about impressions.
I'm Ryan Ewell, Chair of the Building Enclosure Council in Boston and Director of Envelope LLC. I came here because I've been involved in several BEC national meetings, remote digitally, where I've had the chance to interact with other Building Enclosure Council chairs around the country. And I thought this would be a great opportunity to get to know, NIBS and BTEC as well as the other BEC chairs, come here for some great presentations, but also have the opportunity to have conversations with these people that have, so fundamentally helped to develop this conversation about best practice and building science, and learn about, the decades of history that I wasn't necessarily around for, having only practiced for the last 15 or 20 years. And it's been a really invaluable experience, and I've met so many wonderful people that are all just really open and excited to talk about not just the past, but the present and the future, and what they're up to in the industry. And it's just been a fantastic community that I'm happy to be a part of. So.
There was no list of seminars, just a list of speakers. So picking between the two simultaneous tracks was like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're gonna get. Two separate rooms, we can all be involved simultaneously. You chose performance as opposed to facades.
I make some of my decisions about which sessions to attend based on who's presenting. So for example, the past session and also the next session, my decisions are based around individuals more necessarily than content, based on conversations I've had with them prior, enough to kind of pique my interest in what else they have to say.
It certainly was one way to approach it, as the content left me guessing about the choice of the track titles.
When you look at the breakdown of all the various thermal bridges, you really start to understand, especially if you have accurate values that you're putting into your energy model.
Was it your biggest incentive coming here to get education?
I would say equally important, but I really wanted to get to know the people.
Even more interesting discussions took place in couloirs.
Look at this.
Capturing two giants of building science.
The bigger is the camera, the shorter is the distance.
Pertinent question. Who sponsored your visit? You paid out of your own pocket.
Yes, but I would say that it's definitely money well spent. I've paid for plenty of conferences and educational opportunities in the past, and this was by far, one of the best uses of my, not just my money, but frankly my time. Taking 2 or 3 days out of your schedule when you don't necessarily have other people to pick up the workload is a big commitment, and I don't regret having done it at all.